What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about VinFast. It's been a while since I've done a VinFast video, so I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on why it's been gaining so much hype over this last little bit, and if it's justified or not. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with that said, let's get right to it. So at the time of doing this video, it is up 2.04%. Did already have a high of $5.24 and a low of $4.77 based off of no news, nothing like that. So the last PR that did come out of substance was on April the 15th. Everything after that has just been more so linked to kind of ambulance chasers and just looking for lawsuits and things like that. But despite all of that fun jazz, the market's been open about 1 hour, 820,000 shares being traded, 4.08 million is the average. So today it's going to be a fairly high volume day. But one thing to note, even though you've had a lot of good volume over this last couple of weeks, it hasn't necessarily been long investors. So as you can kind of see on average, roughly around anywhere from 1 to 3 transactions above $100,000 occurring on the secondary market. So clearly institutions aren't necessarily getting into VinFast to justify the volume. So that does insinuate that the majority of the volume being done is linked to algorithmic trading, which is all fine and dandy. It obviously is causing it to go up, but it doesn't have any good support levels. So I'm going to break it down on why it's been going up over this last little bit and everything else, despite no news. And so I'm sure a lot of people are kind of aware that the week of, I guess, the 11th or the 13th, this is where a lot of meme stocks and heavily shorted stocks just went to the moon. And so VinFast piggybacked off of that, because even though VinFast, their actual operations, there hasn't been all that much for updates, and I think in reality they're just burning through a excessive amount of cash, they are somewhat heavily shorted. So I think it kind of piggybacked off of that. And in reality, VinFast doesn't have the cult-like following that, for instance, GameStop or AMC has. So you don't have that much institutions trying to suppress VinFast. So this is why it did and was able to freely run up to roughly around the 630-ish range, somewhere around that. And then this is where you kind of had this news come out right over here. So VinFast stock drops as NHTSA opens a crash investigation. So this kind of put the whole hype of VinFast to a halt. I don't know if this was planned behind the scenes from bigger institutions just to cause this downtrend, but it is starting to gain more and more momentum. And shorts over this last little bit haven't really done all that much. So right now, 15.28% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 7.52 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 502.5%. So very high stuff. Keep in mind that is an annual rate, so it's not a daily rate, because that would be completely insane. But still, even right now, shorts are returning about 42,000 shares. Utilization is at 100%, and short score, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is 85.71%. So in reality, yeah, it is still somewhat heavily shorted. So I think that's what is kind of fueling this nice uptrend. But like I said, it's not really institutions that are buying it. It's just linked to algorithmic trading. So it's not really good support levels. So definitely tread with caution, because like I said, there hasn't really been all that much for operational updates. There was this that just came out, I believe, on the Friday as far as documents. So May the 24th. So they're going to be having a shareholder meeting, and that is slated for June the 27th. I have looked at all of their actual topics or proposals. Nothing crazy whatsoever. If anything, it's just rather boring stuff, or just oriented towards compensation of directors, which in my opinion is kind of excessive. So you can kind of see 200,000 right here, 500,000, 500,000. So yeah, VinFast, definitely, I have said in the past, is just not the best. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. One positive thing to take away from this is the fact that they are not proposing any reverse stock splits does insinuate that they don't anticipate to get to at least the $1 range. That's in the short term. So let me know your thoughts on that. And like I said, it's been a while since I've done a VinFast video. So these are some of the latest analyst ratings that have come out down the pipeline. So you have a couple last month, or two last month, $8 and $5, both buy ratings. One was done by Cantor Fitzgerald, Andre Shepard, who has a 21% success rating. So he's probably the I think the lowest analyst that covers EVs, so I take that with a grain of salt, of course. And then Gregory Lewis, who has a 48% success rating. So other than Daniel Ives, I don't know why he gave a $12 price target, because generally I think a lot of people see him as credible. So I don't know why of the 3 analysts he's getting involved with VinFast. So kind of interesting stuff, but as a consensus among all, they do have an average of around 650, and so that does represent a 28% upside. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Latest Morningstar report based on VinFast's assets, it does show the fair market value being $6.51. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. If you're looking for a lot of good compiled information such as analyst ratings, forecasts for upcoming earnings, everything under the sun, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all of this information to be completely free. Link in the description below and also the comments. But quickly moving on from here, going over options. So right now, like I said, the market just opened about an hour ago. Looking at options, 91,000 in calls, 191,000 in puts. Sentiment-wise, 68% of all the options being done today are bearish. And that's been a common occurrence. Like I said, I think a lot of people are seeing that VinFast is going up. Maybe they don't see it being justified. So one way to kind of hedge against that is just to buy puts. And that's actually what people are doing right here. So of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above roughly around $6. So clearly more of a continuation. And then looking at puts, a lot of people are anticipating for it to be sub $3 for this week. So more of a complete crash when it comes to VinFast. Like I said, institutions are somewhat paying attention to it, but not to really justify the daily volume. So roughly around 3 to, I guess, 5 transactions on the secondary market a day. These are some of the transactions on the dark pool. So even the dark pool isn't all that popular, and dark pool is linked to shorting. So even though VinFast has been going up, VinFast shorts haven't really been returning their shares. And one thing that I just wanted to share with you is this. So short interest DTC is 2.58 days. So essentially when it comes to that, shorts are more so just swing trading it. They're not holding very long positions. It's just kind of short-term stuff. So again, on average, they're holding about 2.58 days. So something to consider. But on a side note, if you are looking at trading VinFast with it at $5.01, it is right on this R2. So it's probably going to be flirting with that over this next little bit. But right now, the next strong support is going to be $4.34. And that obviously is aside from this $5 one. And then vice versa, the next strong target that you'll want to watch for VinFast to get above is 606. But like I've already said, I think 2 or 3 times, technically with the volume that is at play right now, there's not a lot of good, strong support levels. So in reality, if someone wanted to sell or shorts wanted to truly double down, then it could go down very, very fast. So let me know your thoughts on VinFast. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Like, what have you been doing with VinFast? And it is really sad because I went to Toronto recently, like a couple months ago, and I checked out Lucid, their studio, completely empty, nobody in there. But I also checked out their VinFast studio in Toronto, and you know what? It was full. And even at that time, I think 2 people were physically buying VinFast. I don't know what model or anything, but yeah, like VinFast, their vehicles look somewhat good. I get maybe the underlying management itself is just burning through a lot of cash. Don't really know what the hell they're doing, but their actual vehicle itself looks pretty good. So I don't know, what's your thoughts on VinFast, and where do you realistically see VinFast being price point wise? One thing that as well I have brought up in the past, I'll share with you. So right now this is Polestar. I always look at the PS ratio and compare, for instance, Polestar to VinFast and many others. So Polestar as a comparison is 0.6 and the future is 0.5. Let's pull up VinFast for a second. So going over to the multiples. So VinFast right now, as you can see, is 8.6 and the future is 3.3. So even if you do compare it to use the same multiple as, for instance, Polestar, it does need to go down a good like 60%. And I know Polestar is kind of an extreme case, but even comparing it to Rivian, it's at 3.5. So VinFast is still considered on a multiple level overvalued. So I don't know, VinFast is a very interesting case, But in my opinion, if there is a lot of continuation of the meme stock craze, VinFast could really benefit. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the MULN. So pretty kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.